talk us through like then what happened afterwards, because we know you guys broke up, but we still see you guys together all the time. We see your feet on Instagram far too much.
Yeah. Well, I didn't realize the feet thing is such a big deal, and it's funny.
People know.
Well, because
I
got
some good looking feet, though. You're gonna get a wiki feet.
Yeah. I just say you could start an OnlyFans. Make some money off those feet.
I have already.
Do you have a wiki feet?
There's so many. Like people have a foot fetish. I didn't realize how many people have a foot fetish.
A lot of people.
So apparently, I have
never post my feet.
You could make bank
I always make sure I have socks on.
Yeah, I'm big on 4.8 out of 5. You do have a.
There you are.
Oh, I have a better rating. You're a 4.4.
Whoa, I gotta pick this up and start getting more pedicures.
Yeah.
I didn't really catch on to that until really probably like a month ago. Someone sent me a Reddit thing, and then I like tweeted out about it. But I guess I show my feet a little bit too much.
There you go, wiki feet.
Oh, see, now I feel special. That's the real accomplishment.
What's wiki feet?
It's when you know you've made
literally
it.
Wikipedia for people's feet.
Yeah.
Like
No
if you
way.
post your feet a lot.
I got a wiki feet.
How weird is the internet?
It's weird.
So
People
weird.
are freaky.
People love it.
People are freaky.
Sure
Ria's
enough.
on
Oh yeah,
there.
Ria's on there too.
Great score.
That's
I don't know if I'm on
the
there. I
next
think
you are.
thing. Once this episode drops, I got to get a foot pic in front of the kids in the office.
I was gonna say, if you don't have an OnlyFans set up for your feet by the time this podcast airs, I think you're making a mistake.
Hey, secure the bag. Secure the bag.
Exactly. Whatever it takes. But take us through that. Obviously, what happened after the show, the breakup, the whole thing on Instagram, and now where you're at.
Yeah, I mean, so there's one thing is, and everyone will say like, oh, they're trying to be so secretive about all these things. I mean, obviously we know that there's pictures of us when we're out and about. And, one thing that, especially as going through this process, we've really focused on just being more private with our stuff as we work to, just build a relationship. And, especially with Clare not here, I'm not going to dive into too many details, but we're in a good place. And I think right now, especially with everybody else, who's wanting to have answers, when we're ready to speak about those things, we definitely will. But just with anything, everyone goes through things. I wish
Clare was sitting right here and got those answers.
No, but everyone, goes through things in a relationship. Mm-hmm. So, but again, we're just taking the time and focusing on one another. And,
do you feel like you're building towards something though? Like, I know you guys won't say you're like officially dating, but does it feel like you're moving in a certain direction?
Yeah. Well, Claire and I love each other unconditionally and so much. And that's the truest and realest thing about our relationship.
You're kissing with your mask on, so that's when you know.
Oh, all the mask things.
Yeah. Is the engagement still on?
Like I said, we'll talk about more. We'll talk about more of that when the time is right. And it's nothing to shy away from. And again, there's nothing to hide with it. But just out of respect, for building a relationship or even just our history, that's something that we'll discuss and we'll share more so together and collectively.
And look, you can see it in the pictures because we joked about the mask thing, and we were saying you have to really care about the other person. I did not realize, but there have been times my boyfriend and I have done that, and I was like, now when I saw the pictures, I was like, oh God, that looks so cheesy. But I do feel like it shows that you care a lot about the other person.
It's funny because outside people will always say, oh, this or that, and it's fascinating how when you're in a public relationship, how many people put their hopes and dreams into your success, and I think
or downfall.
Or downfall.
Yeah.
It is true. And I feel like the show definitely almost gamifies and makes people choose sides.
For sure.
To a degree, almost like a fantasy football type thing.
And we're all guilty of that because when we watch, we're rooting for them. We're not rooting for them. Where's this going? Yeah. And I feel like it's easy to forget that. And I feel like it's
just
what
human
you guys
beings,
think.
and it's still navigating
you guys
a
are
relationship.
actually in this relationship, and you have so many opinions coming at you at once that it probably confuses the both of you on where you truly lie.
Yeah, well, I think honestly, everything else on the outside was never an issue, and I think the reason it's some of those things can seep in, but having strong foundational love is the number one thing. And you hear it all the time. People say, people love the idea, but that's the ultimate goal. That's what everyone looks for. And like, that's something that we have, and like we had from the very get-go. And it does, you know, create difficulties being in the spotlight in certain things, because certain things get magnified. Or I've been so fascinated by media because they can get things right, but there's a lot of things they can get wrong. And when they get something wrong in a big major way, like those things can cause issues. And I've talked to a lot of people on previous seasons, and with the relationships, like everyone's a source. It's like, who are these sources?
Right. I was going to say, like, have you been reading articles about your relationship, and it's like sources say Dale feels this, and do you ever think like, is there someone in my life telling these stories to E! News, or are they just kind of...
Yeah, I've got like a really, really close circle. And I'm honestly, like, in general, as much as like a public relationship was out there, like I'm very private with my personal life. That's something that I've just never really paid attention to. But I will say that you have to be strong, you have to be confident, you have to be very, very secure in a relationship, but also with yourself. And I remember, like, I went through it after the breakup, and like the next day just getting flooded with like accusations of like cheating and all this. And like, that's something that never happened. And, you know, that like didn't come from Claire or my side in any capacity. Like, that's something that we never even talked about. You know, I grew up in a house with 4 sisters, the man of the house, you know, only boy. And like, that's something that I've never done like in my life. So that was challenging. But going back to the relationship with the guys, like you talk about getting through that, because anything that comes at your character, especially when you know that you can't control it, is tough to swallow and tough to handle. But the guys picked me up in like so much, you know, like outside of being like, hey, I'm sorry that you're going through this, but just really knowing like the type of person that I am, like family, my community. It was definitely a time for growth. And then also you just learn, like, you just move past it. You stay true to who you are, and all that shit will fade, you know?
Yeah. And you mentioned the cheating accusations. I feel like it was because, you know, the account Dumois, they post a lot of stuff.
Dude, how, I never even knew about this thing. And then it turns out.
Well, to be honest, they really kind of blew up during your season. Yeah. Like, I feel like now they've reached, you know, they're almost at like 1 million followers, but at the beginning when they had first started, and I remembered first following the account, it was like, I feel very much like around that same time. Yeah. So they were getting tips about all different kinds of celebrities, but also getting tips about the show and you guys, and pictures of you at the dinner.
Right, and they were like, oh, Dale's seen with a bunch of models, he's seen with a bunch of girls. And I feel like you just mentioned you grew up with all sisters, so you probably just feel comfortable with hanging out with,
some things are like business and business and clients, you know? And like, it's like outside looking in, but like, I
mean, we work with all guys. Like, there are times when we're out to dinner with a table full of 6 guys, and it's just me and her, or like, boyfriends or just are not us. There, and you know, it's weird. Like, and if we were at that level, people would be like, "Oh my God, there's Rhea and Fran with a table," but people don't care about that.
But it's like public perception. But whatever the case, it's just something that you just learn and you got to grow with. You know, my relationships, my friendships, like my movements have been the same for the most part since after the show. And I think just the fact that it's a pandemic, obviously there's not much going on. New York was a ghost town. Yeah. I'm probably one of the more easily recognized people around.
That's true. Very 6'4", identifiable.
Yeah.
And I'm walking all over the city. But again, it's just something that it's a chance for growth. And I learned a lot from that experience. But again, even now, like my movements and everything, like they don't really shift or change that much.